Welcome back to Climate Responsive Architecture videos, Unit 2, part number 4. In the previous slides, we saw about time lag, we saw about thermal properties, we saw about some kind of roof configurations and roof finishes, etc. So now we are going to see about performance of the roof configurations. So we have to understand what type of roof can give a better thermal performance in certain latitudes or certain climatic locations. So we have a research paper which is done at Madurai by a certain researcher. So she has taken few types of roof structures or roof configurations. So we have certain roof configurations. You can see how each and every roof configuration was taken, and field study was done for each and every roof configuration accordingly in certain dates. So from 15th April to the 19th April, which is the most hottest season at Madurai. So basically, during April it is very hot because we have the almost like a equinox. Your sun is overhead, so your roof exposure is very high during that season, and people and we understand that the roof exposure is very high and it is overhead sun. So because of that, we understand like the whole heat gain is going to be from the roof structure. So they have taken few roof configurations like this. Like first thing is like a cement roof, like you have an RCC roof, a cement render is below, and we have a lime concrete and a flat plate line, which is a little bit of a conventional roof which everybody tries to use. So these are the dates. We have temperature outside, inside, and humidity outside, etc., and humidity inside. And they have done a simulation which is on Ecotech. So they have understood what are the monthly loads, discomfort or discomfort degree hours, whether it is too hot or too cold, etc. There is an annual comfort distribution, etc. So now we have to just see or go through the various roof structures and find out which roof is performing better in certain climates, that is at Madurai. So we have the second configuration, which is the Madras terrace roof. So it's a very old type of construction or old type of roof which you should have already got exposed during your village study or maybe during your first year levels. So for example, you have the roof structure which is called Madras terrace. You have a wooden beam, then you have a wooden rafter, then we have a brickwork or a blockwork with the lime mortar, etc. Then again we have a small kind of brickwork, and then it is finished with a terracotta tile on top. So it's a very thick roof, the Madras terrace roof. So the Madras terrace roof is also got certain temperature fluctuations because of the exposure to the sun. So that is one part which you can understand. The next one is the filler slab. Again, the filler slab is again it's a slab which is filled with Mangalore tiles. It's an RCC slab, and the bottom of the slab is actually done by the Mangalore tiles. So the filler slab will look like this. So this is the view of the filler slab. So again, the filler slab is also taken care of, and the few measurements are taken with the filler slab construction also. We have the thatched roof. It's one of the most oldest roof structure. So vernacular vernacular structure where people used to live in thatches in villages. So it is also taken. The thatched roof is also considered. Then we have an earthen pot roof which you are going to newly expose it. Of course, it's a little older type of construction. So we have an inverted earthen pots. We have a hollow section here. So because of the earth pot, so the heat gain will be little lesser because of the inverted earth pots, and it will be very effective during the summers because it is on the roof. Okay, so this is actually covered. After this, it is actually covered. Earthen pots are actually covered. So you can see what type of results are seen or what type of temperature fluctuations are seen because of this roof structure. Then we have another roof, a little inclined roof, which is the Mangalore tile roof. Of course, you know this is also a vernacular structure. So the Mangalore tile roof is also considered. So taking the overall picture, so you can understand the temperature fluctuations or the temperature minimization inside the building because of these roof structures. So you can understand this blue color line is the dotted line is the outside air temperature. So the outside air temperature from 15th April to 19th April, it's almost touching 38 degrees, or one day it is touching 42 degrees, one day it is going to touch something like 40 degrees, etc. So the air temperature is extremely high during your April season because of your overhead sun. So overhead sun, and because of the solar radiation is very high, and it is summer also, the air temperature has become very high. So we have to understand what is the air temperature inside the building. So when you come inside the building, and of course the roof is going to be there, the roof is going to give you the results of heat reduction or heat gain, etc. So if you see the RCC roof, so when we know it's a flat roof which we use, it's called reinforced concrete roof. So if you see the RCC roof, it is not performing very highly, very nicely, because it's very less. It is almost 35 degrees Celsius during the daytime, but during the night time also there is a heat gain. It's already gained the heat and it is actually having it here. But during the night time the air temperature reduces, but still the air temperature inside the building is not reducing because of the RCC roof structure. So you can see the fluctuations here. Okay, of course in the daytime it is reducing, but in the night time the temperature inside the room, it's not reduced because of the RCC structure. But whereas if you take a thatched roof, it is performing better. So thatched roof is performing better than an RCC roof. So you can see these dotted lines. So these are called thatched roof sections. So that is also performing better. So the next one, better than the thatched roof, again the Madras terrace roof. It is a thicker roof, so we call it as the thermal mass. So when you have a good thermal mass, as we said in the earlier slides, it's called as thermal resistance. We studied about R value. So if you have a lot of materials or composite sections with a lot of additions of thickness, so when the thickness increases, your R value will increase and your U value will decrease. So your thickness of the Madras terrace roof is a little higher, so your the performance is better during the day and also during the night. So that is one thing which you must understand. Then what happens is, if you see the temperature with the sloped roof is better, because what happens is in a sloped roof your exposure, you don't have a flat roof. So if you have a flat roof, your solar incident radiation or the horizontal radiation is very high because of the roof exposure. Whereas if you have a sloped roof, so it is very high during one of the times. For example, at 10 o'clock on the eastern side it is higher. So when it comes to west, the heat becomes lower, or it becomes lesser in the eastern side. So you have to understand. So the sloped roof also performs better according to the orientation of the roof and according to the placement of the roof. So the sloped roof can be very effective also. The next thing is the filler slab. So the filler slab is also performing very nicely. So if you can see, the filler slab is performing better than all the other structures, etc. So we generally understand like these roof configurations are studied by a certain researcher, and we understand that the filler slab or the RCC slab, the sloped RCC slab with the clay tile is also performing better. So this is an perfect comparison of how the roof structure or the roof element can be an identity to reduce your thermal comfort gain. So next thing is called as the glass. So glass is a very important element in a building. So of course we know the wall is very important, then we know the roof is very important. Then we next have the fenestrations or the roof configuration, or the roof or the the window openings, which is called as the fenestration. So generally what happens, there is a lot of opening in the building to get daylight. So the same openings are it's becoming a contributing factor for the heat also. So the heat is also gained because of your glazing structure. So if you see glazing, so we generally have a clear glass which is recommended in a residential section, etc., whatever it is. So we generally have the short wave radiation, so that's called as the solar radiation. So we have some amount of heat which is reflected, some amount of heat which is transmitted inside the building, and some amount of heat which is absorbed by the glass structure. So this is outside the building, this is inside the building. So heat is reflected, heat is transmitted, heat is also absorbed. So we have it as A plus R plus T is equal to 1. So we saw in the previous chapter the absorptivity and reflectivity of any material. So A plus R is equal to 1. Now in the glass we have A plus R plus T is equal to 1. So we can understand these things. So a part of it is reflected, part of it is absorbed, etc. And the whole build up or the whole gain of the heat depends on the roof and also the glass material So we have three types of glasses. One is clear glass, one is heat absorbing glass, we have refractive glass, Of course, there are a lot of modules of glass. One is like you have a curtain wall section, you have a double wall, double glass, you have a triple pane glass, you have some kind of other low emissivity glass, etc. So in the forthcoming chapters, you can read about those glass sections. So if you have a clear glass, so generally we use a clear glass in most of the residential sections. So the clear glass, almost 8% is reflected. We have 87% of heat which is transmitted, and then we have the heat absorbing glass. 43% of the heat is transmitted, 8% is reflected, and we have the reflective glass. As we know, it's called as the tinted glass. So we have 34% reflected and 30% is transmitted. So according to the glass thickness, and according to the glass property, and according to the tint or the color of the glass, the heat absorption varies. So if you see, the heat gain is very high in the clear glass. So when you recommend a clear glass, it's better to recommend a clear glass along with your shading elements, etc. So that is very important. Then we have the heat gain which is lesser in the heat absorbing glass. Then the heat gain is very less in your reflective glass. But the other problem or the other disadvantage is the light level will become little lesser because of the reflective coating. So we have to consider what type of location which we are going to propose, and we have to know whether what type of room which we are proposing the glass, and then we have to understand whether we need a daylight section more or the heat gain must be more, etc. And accordingly we can propose about the glass. So we can see in the forthcoming chapters about the proposals or design proposals according to the climates. So next thing is we have the shading strategies, which is very important. So according to the hemisphere, according to the latitude, we must know how the sun is moving or the sun path is actually there, and accordingly we have to recommend the shading. So the shading strategies can be recommended on wall, it can be recommended on the roof sections, etc. So we will understand about the shading strategies one by one. So generally in the northern hemisphere, so we are in the northern hemisphere, so we consider the northern hemispherical sections. So we know the sun path is from the east to west along the south, so it's tilted along the south. So during your December or during your winter season, the sun is almost inclined to almost 12 degrees to 20 degrees. So you get more of exposure to the southern wall, etc. And during your summers, the sun is almost on the zenith angle, so you get more exposed to the roof section. So for a northern hemisphere, something like we have it in Tamil Nadu, so we'll consider Tamil Nadu or New Delhi or anywhere in northern hemisphere. So your winter sun, so for example, you have the sun during your December, January, or during your November, December and January, your sun is actually inclined towards the south. So your southern facade is actually more exposed. So you must understand how to protect your southern facade or how to gain heat from the southern facade if it's a very cold climate. So the facade is more exposed and the roof is exposed, but it's exposed in a diffused manner. So that is very important during your December, January. So when you come to April and when you come to June, April, May and June, your sun is almost on the topmost level. It is not very inclined, it is on top. So your roof exposure is very high during your summer. So your roof must be very highly protected during your summer time. So we saw in the previous slides of roof configurations why the roof configuration was concentrated on Madurai. Because Madurai, of course, we know almost it's in 10 degree north, so your roof is more exposed, okay, during your summer. So the main concentration of the roof is also considered. So your roof is very highly exposed during your summer. So we have to know how you can propose design strategies for the roof and also for the walls according to the latitude. So that is one thing which is important. We have design solutions to reduce solar radiation. Of course, we know it's called horizontal overhangs or just a sunshade. Okay, so this is a very common sunshade which is used in all the buildings. We have to understand how these things can be different, or it can be used in a little bit of different type, okay, according to the latitudes, and how to reduce the solar radiation. So we have horizontal overhangs, we have louvers, we have horizontal louvers. So it's like horizontal louvers, which is almost like a pergola. We have vertical louvers. So vertical louvers, the recommendation is on east and west because it's having a low angle sun. So maybe vertical louvers are recommended that on the east and western facade. Whereas the horizontal overhangs are recommended on the southern facade because it's an overhead sun. So the horizontal louvers are recommended. Maybe you have an inclined horizontal louvers, because if your sun angle is very less, so you can have an horizontal louvers which is very inclined. We may have accurate devices where your the sun angle is lower and also it is very harsh, so we have to protect the building. Or if it's a very what do you call public spaces where you need more shading, so you can go for accurate shades, where the typical example is your Chandigarh complex. So you can actually see some of the accurate devices which are designed or which are built in the Chandigarh complex, which is designed by Le Corbusier. We have the blinds and glasses, and we have also the trees adjacent buildings. So now the main consideration itself is the built structure. So how you can reduce your shading or reduce the heat gain by your shading techniques in your built structure. Finally, after your built structure, of course you have the option of keeping your trees, vegetation, etc. So of course this option is also according to the space which is already available, etc., etc. Okay, so that is how we have to know how to have few design solutions to reduce solar radiation. Then of course we have some technical terms to calculate the sun shades and calculate the projection factors, etc., according to the length of the window and according to the height of the window. So you have the length of the window and you have the height of the window. So according to the length and height of the window, we try to project the overhangs. We also have the proposal of the vertical fins, etc. So we have some kind of formula called as the projection factor, which you can go through from the books. So we have 2 or 3 angles which are called as the vertical shallow angle, vertical shadow angle, which is VSA. We have the horizontal shadow angle, etc. So according to the horizontal shadow angle and the vertical shadow angle, there is the proposal of the shading devices, whether it can be an inclined device, whether it can be a straight device, whether it can be blinds or something like a louvers, etc. So it depends according to your length of the window and the height of the window. So shading strategies will differ accordingly, and the strategies will also differ according to the sun path and sun movement and sun's inclination, etc. The next thing is we have something called as a shading mask, which we calculate. So if you have a sunshade like this, so there is going to be the sun's movement on all around. This is one facade. Like for example, we take this as an eastern facade, okay, or something like a southern facade. So if you propose the horizontal sunshade, so what happens? The backside anyway it is shaded, so it is already shaded. So we understand by just drawing this line. So how much of degree is projected? So how much is projection is there? So you have to draw the degree here. So you understand so much of place is shaded. Horizontal shading mask is there. Okay, so this is the protection. So if there is no horizontal shading device, but there is a vertical device, so we can understand from the center. If you take 2 lines like that, then the shading is more on this side and this side. Here it is little lesser, but here you will get little bit of shading during a summers. So if you have an accurate device, the whole thing is shaded, so it is more effective. So that shading also can be studied. Of course, for every shading device it is calculated, the shading masks are calculated. So this is very effective because it is actually protecting the top sun, and it is also protecting the sun, the inclined sun also, etc. So again, these shading devices are very, very effective, etc. So there are a lot of various shading devices which you can recommend and also can study during your you can also study and recommend accordingly. So again, we have vertical devices. So some of the shading masks you can see, accurate devices and accurate devices with the inclined horizontal devices, etc. So we end this chapter. We have some few things to remember. We have some abbreviations or formulas to remember, okay, for the next forthcoming chapters. So we must understand about LEED. LEED is leadership and energy environmental design. Like we have certain bodies which gives you recommendations to design the climate responsive building. So we have LEED. So we have LEED India. Those are the ratings for the India. We have GRIHA. It's called Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment. So that's again a rating. We have ECBC, Energy Conservation Building Code. We have WWR. We will see it in the next chapter. Just to remember what are the short abbreviations for it. We have VLT, Visible Light Transmittance. We have SHGC, Solar Heat Gain Coefficient. We will see in the next chapter. VSA, as we saw in the previous slide, Vertical Shadow Angle. HSA is Horizontal Shadow Angle. We have some from kind of formulas which you must remember. So we have 1 HP, or 1 BTU is British thermal unit, so we have to know how to convert it into watts, etc., when you do an energy calculation. So a few references as we told last time in the last chapter also. So please go through these books. It's very good to go through these books for the references. The best book to start with is Arvind Krishnan. So you can actually start with Arvind Krishnan's Climate Responsive Architecture, which can give you a lot of details about the landforms, etc., how the climatic variations are there due to lot of external features, etc., and it gives you a lot of calculations also. That's the first book which you can go through. It's very easy to go through, and it's very convenient for you to learn it in a very simple language. The next very effective book is Manual of Tropical Housing and Building Temps, which is very nicely written, okay, with practical examples. So you can actually go through this book, and very technical also. Then other books are a little bit sophisticated, and you can also go through these books accordingly. So, and if you have to know about certainly about what you called technical items like heat transfer, etc., what is the formula, and if you have glass sections, what is the formula, etc. So the Introduction to Architectural Science will give you the all the technical aspects, okay, so which you can go through in the book. So we end with this reference also. So we have some assignments which you can actually do it in the later stages. So we have certainly 5 climatic zones. So we have to do a small case study of each and every climatic zone. So we have to take a building of each and every climatic zone. It's already built. So we can take any building, it's a commercial space or even if it's a residential sector. So we try to understand how have the architects or designers try to give a design proposal and try to execute, and how the building withstands, okay, after for that proposed climate. We certainly have the question bank. You can go through this question bank for your future exams and for the assignments, etc. So we have to know how to draw this stereographic drawing. So you can go through this stereographic drawing in a book called Heating, Cooling and Lighting by Norbert Lechner. It is available as a web PDF. So please go through and see how the stereographic sunpath drawings are varying according to each and every latitude and longitude. So that is one thing which is very important. Thank you so much. So we end this session and we will continue with the next session of daylighting.